In a village where the river was believed to have eyes and the forest whispered the secrets of the ancestors, lived a girl named Amara. The people honored the land, poured libations at dawn, and feared the unseen spirits said to walk among them.
Tradition was law, and destiny was never questioned. But Amara was different. While other maidens learned the ways of marriage and submission, she listened instead to the distant drums of travelers and the stories of lands beyond the red earth. Each evening she sat by the riverbank, where elders said spirits gathered at dusk, and dreamed of a life beyond the village. She had a secret. Hidden beneath her sleeping mat were small coins. In 3 days, a passing trader would return, and before the first cockcrow, she would leave everything behind. But the river had been watching, and the night had other plans.
That night, under the heavy breath of the Harmattan wind, Amara dreamed of the sacred grove, the forbidden place where only elders and priests dared to step. Masked figures circled her, their movements slow, their presence overwhelming. Then a voice, deep, ancient, and commanding, spoke from the darkness.
You have been chosen to serve.
She woke with a sharp gasp. Her wrist burned.
Oh, it burns. What is this?
Air, etched into her skin, was a symbol no ordinary person could bear, the mark of divine selection. By sunrise, the elders had already gathered, as if the news had traveled faster than the wind. Drums were beaten, incense filled the air.
The gods have called her. She belongs to them now.
In her village, this meant becoming a vessel, a servant to the shrine, cut off from normal life, bound forever to rituals and silence. But Amara, with fire in her chest and fear in her lungs, and said no. The air froze. To reject the gods was to invite something far worse than death. The punishment came swiftly. That very night, the river rose like a beast unleashed. It swallowed farms, tore through homes, and left the village trembling. Women wailed, men called upon the ancestors, and the elders spoke in hushed, fearful tones. The gods are angry, and all eyes turned to Amara. Days turned darker. Children fell sick with fevers no herbs could cure. Goats were found lifeless without a mark on them. Even the sacred fires refused to burn steadily, wrapped itself around the village like a curse. Amara became an outcast. Even her own mother could not look her in the eyes.
Accept it! The gods do not choose wrongly, but Amara felt it. Deep in her spirit, this was not the anger of gods.
This was something else. Something human.
So on a night when the moon hid behind clouds and even the crickets were silent, she walked into the sacred grove. Alone.
What she found there shattered everything. Behind the sacred masks were men. The voice of the gods was the voice of an elder. The incense, the symbols, the fear, it was all carefully human. The mark on her wrist had not appeared by divine power. It had been burned into her skin while she slept. It was never about the gods. It was about control. At dawn, Amara stood before the entire village, her voice no longer shaking. She spoke not with fear, but with truth. She revealed the hidden masks, the tricks, the lies that had ruled them for generations. At first, there was silence, then doubt, then anger. The elders' authority crumbled, and with it, the chains that had bound the people's minds. The disasters were no longer seen as curses, but as the natural rhythm of a land misunderstood and feared. And Amara was no longer cursed. She was free. Flern kissed the river once more. She stepped onto the trader's boat. The same river that once watched her now carried her forward, away from fear, away from lies,
Toward her own destiny. And as the village disappeared behind her, her voice rose softly with the wind.
I was never chosen by the gods, I chose myself.